Before I start this video today, I want to let everybody know I just posted another Patreon video. Thanks for coming over to my Patreon. We can talk a little bit more freely over there on that platform. So again, thanks for joining my Patreon. If you haven't, please do. You can go down to my website, link down below in the description box. Go to the website. You can see the Patreon link on my website, and you can join up right there. Again, thank you so much for coming over to Patreon. And if you haven't, please do. It's Sunday, July 12th, 2020. A very, very hot day out here in the desert. These bugs are making a lot of noise. I don't know if they're beetles or what they are, but they're very loud. So hopefully it's not going to distort this audio too bad, but they are just really buzzing today. But I wanted to make this video late this afternoon, and as I read more of what's going on, as I drive around in my area and see what's going on, it's just becoming more and more disturbing. Article I was reading over the weekend, Nordstroms tells landlords to expect just half their rent until January. Nordstroms notified landlords of its full line and off-the-rack stores that it will pay only half the occupancy costs for the remainder of the year, according to a letter from President of Stores, Jamie Nordstroms. Sources say that the Nordstroms workforce will be reduced by up to 25%, and we're going to see 16 Nordstroms store closings coming. Nordstroms employs about 68,000 people, and we're going to see a loss of nearly 20,000 of those jobs with Nordstroms. At this point, Nordstroms is flirting with litigation by not paying rent. So how does the landlord pay his bills? How does he pay the bank? I think what we're going to see here is we're going to see another store filing bankruptcy, Chapter 11. This has Chapter 11 written all over it. And I think Nordstroms will be the next to be biting the dust here. They're going to definitely have to do a lot of restructuring, a lot of layoffs. It's going to get very, very bad, I think, for Nordstroms. And it's just a sign of the times, ladies and gentlemen. You know, as I was driving around today, I was in a neighborhood. We were running some errands. And in this neighborhood, I could not believe the amount of cars parked in driveways or out in front of houses. Some of these houses, and these are typically 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom houses, some of these houses had 7, 8 cars in the driveways or parked right up front. 7 or 8 cars. You know, without a doubt, most of the garages have probably all been converted into living spaces, but this is another sign of the times where you're going to have 3 or 4 families living together in 3-bedroom houses just to make ends meet. There was a video I saw on social media about 2 days ago, Burlington coat factory right here in Palm Springs, and a lady had filmed this, and she just said, there's nobody in the store, and she's filming it. There's like literally nobody in the store except her. And she was pointing out the inventory. The inventory was so lean. So is this going to be another store closing in my area? Is Burlington Coat Factory going to be in trouble? Again, you know, if you just pay attention to the signs, the writing is all over the wall. I was reading an article on The Hedge this morning. Major tax increases are about to slam America. And many of you, including myself, have talked about this for a while. When you have stores going out of business, all this commercial real estate gone, they pay huge tax revenue in cities. Well, when it's gone and the malls are closing, the stores are closing, the restaurants are closing, who's going to make up for the loss of tax revenue? Well, of course, you and I will. And as I've pointed out many times in the past, look at Chicago, what they're doing. The city, the state, completely bankrupt. The pensions are in big trouble. So what do? They go after anybody who's got money. So they go after your property taxes. Americans are now beginning to scramble to adjust to their new lifestyles in this new world with the adjustments that they're going to have to make with this new economy. Have you noticed the people on social media, the people that used to show you what they were eating and drinking, the shoes they were wearing, the cars they were driving? They're gone. They're fading away. And the reason they are is because they can't buy any more shoes. They've had to turn the car in, or the car's been repoed. There's no more fancy dinners. There's no more fancy champagne for a lot of these people because they were buying it all on credit cards, all on debt with money, buying things with money they didn't have just to impress you, to impress me, to impress people they don't even know on social media. And now they've been exposed because of what is taking place. So they're broke. They're tapped out. These are the people who have gone from Morton's Steakhouse to McDonald's hamburgers. And this is happening all across America, and it's going to continue to get much, much worse. While Americans try and figure out how to make ends meet to keep their heads just above water, the government is doing everything it can to figure out how to keep this whole thing alive. And Americans aren't going to like what is coming. Mayors, governors are now going to be asking how much money can they extract from people without causing extreme poverty and triggering widespread revolt. Oil revenue in many states. Look at Texas. It's tragic to see what's happening in states that are dependent on fracking, on shale, the energy sector. It's getting obliterated, especially in Texas. Businesses, small businesses especially, restaurants closing everywhere, retailers and malls closing. Look, you guys see this. It's happening in your areas just like it's happening in mine. But the answer to all this, when the revenues dry up, when the oil dries up, when the malls dry up, the restaurants and retailers all dry up, it's taxes. They are going to try to squeeze blood out of the turnip. And there's a couple examples here in this article. I wrote down just a couple of them. There's many more. But Nashville Mayor John Cooper is proposing raising property taxes 32%. Dallas, Texas, proposing 8% rise in property taxes. Chicago, which has a $700 billion shortfall, what are they going to do? They're talking about raising property taxes even more than they are now. I believe Chicago has the highest property taxes in America. New York pitching the idea to put a tax increase on the wealthy. So what will the wealthy do? Well, they're just gonna move. They'll go to Florida. They'll go anywhere. They'll just leave, just like they did in Chicago. The money will just leave, and so that just leaves the burden on the middle class and the poor. And what happens when you cannot bleed money out of these people any longer? What's left? Many states across America will be raising taxes. Nobody needs a crystal ball to understand that. So as the financial crisis deepens, we shall see how this works out. So to everyone in America, you didn't create the financial fraud in this system. You were forced to close your businesses. You were laid off, and now you can pay for this mess. Speaking of Chicago, the once great state of Illinois, a very good article I was reading on The Hedge this morning. It will take you, if you're planning on getting out of the state of Illinois, and if you're there, you should be planning on getting out of there. It's going to take you minimal 3 weeks. One-way U-Hauls. It is a 3-week wait to get a U-Haul truck, okay? A one-way U-Haul truck is a 3-week waiting period just to get out of the state of Illinois. That's how bad it is. People are running out of these places, but what's going to be difficult for so many people is when this housing market starts to burst. We hear a lot about people leaving the cities and going to the suburbs. Well, if you can't sell your house in the city, if you can't sell your condo, how do you get to the suburbs? If you can't sell your house in the state of Illinois, how do you get out of the state of Illinois? Now, I don't think there's going to be a big rush for people moving into Illinois. So how do people get out when they're sitting on real estate? It's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. For the first time since the Great Depression, Americans must wait in line for most basic essentials. This was an article I was reading today. You just look at the food banks now. 2-mile long lines in multiple states, hundreds and hundreds of cars. Look at the line now. These people who still can't get unemployment, the lines at the unemployment offices because the phones aren't working, the websites are down, so people going down there in person, waiting and waiting and waiting. It's just unbelievable. But we're going to see more and more lines, food lines, unemployment lines, all kind of lines in America. Things that we only saw back in the old movies, we're going to see firsthand for ourselves in America. Really good article on the Wall Street Journal this weekend. It's titled, "This is what it looks like when a Texas oil boom busts." And I read this article. It's very good. If you get a chance, go to the Wall Street Journal, check it out. But this is what's coming to America. It's not just coming to Texas. But in this article, it just talks about some of these towns that are drying up because of the energy depression, the oil depression that is taking place in shale, in fracking. And what's happening to these towns. Everybody from the barber to the restaurant owner is taking huge hits as these towns are turning into ghost towns. People move away, trying to find work somewhere else. And how quickly these things can happen and how it changes people's lives. And this is going to happen throughout America. It's not going to just be towns in Texas. This is going to be happening throughout America as industries and economies dry up throughout America. So if you get a chance, check it out. But it's amazing, from the barbers to the guy that makes barbecue to the guy who rents a spot for RV parking for the workers. Everybody is feeling the pain, and it is coming to America. When I look at this economy, the U.S. economy, I see the Titanic, and many people use the analogy of the sinking ship, the sinking Titanic when we talk about the U.S. economy. The masses and the fools still party in complete denial while the ship is sinking. People believe the economy is unsinkable, just like people thought that the Titanic was unsinkable. That was until it hit an iceberg and broke in half. The economy is breaking in half right before our very eyes, yet people are in denial. They are still dancing to the music. We've hit an iceberg, ladies and gentlemen, and the damage is unrepairable. We are taking on water right now. This ship, this economy is sinking. If you don't have a lifeboat, you're going to be toast. You are not going to survive this. The ice cold water is splashing into the economic engines of America. The greatest economy that was ever built, just like the greatest ship that was ever built, is now sinking. Just like the days of the Titanic, the first class passengers have the lifeboats. The rest just waited to drown. You have a choice right now. Are you going to be a victim? Are you going to wait to drown? Or are you going to have a lifeboat to get to? Meaning, are you going to have cash? Are you going to have gold? Are you going to have silver? Are you going to have food, water, security? Are you going to have the assets that you're going to need to get past this? Most people will not. The 1%, they already do. You need to think like the central banks. You need to think like the 1% if you're going to survive this, because if you don't have a lifeboat to jump into when this thing goes under, you're going to be done. You're going to be a statistic. You will be a victim of the worst economic collapse the world has ever seen. This economy is no doubt the Titanic. We have hit the iceberg. We are taking in a massive amount of water. We are taking in a lot of debt, a lot of deficits. The damage is unrepairable, unsustainable. Many of you know exactly what is going on, but there are people who may be new today, people on the fence watching this video. Please, please get ready. Get prepared the best that you can. Having a little is better than having nothing. By doing nothing, you are guaranteeing that you're going to lose. You're going to be a victim here. By doing something, at least you have a chance. For the people out there that have been preparing for years, you're going to prosper. You're going to take advantage of this collapse. The sales, the deals are coming, and many people are going to be very, very prosperous. They're going to become very wealthy because this is going to be the biggest wealth transfer the world has ever seen. There's going to be a lot of prosperity out there, a lot of money to be made. And but most of all, I want everybody out there to be safe. I want everybody walking close to God. Every one of us should be on our hands and knees thanking God today for everything He's blessed us with. Things are going to get critical. Things will get very dangerous, okay? You can't just have money. You can't just have gold and silver. You can't just have cash. You need to be your own asset. You need to be getting your mind, your body, and your spirit in better shape right now, because we are heading into a critical time in American history that many people are not going to survive. Okay, that's just the bottom line. Many people are not going to survive what is coming. We're going to see joblessness, homelessness. We're going to see people starving. We're going to see massive violence. We're going to see unbalance and chaos unlike anything we've ever seen in this country or the world. Big things are coming, and we're getting very, very close to another event. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. Have a great week. Be praying, be walking close to God, pray for America, and continue preparing. Thanks for watching.